it's really interesting. I think you both talked about basically what I think same thing from two different perspectives. Cate, you started off in the morning talking about the importance of communication, communication with the customers and internally also and through the market chain. And also of this building the trust between us as individuals. And I know that a couple of other speakers in the afternoon also talked about trust and building for relationships personally and also business-wise. And also the importance of just not making a transaction, but making a relationship. And then you ended off with the importance of corporate agility, customer centricity, culture of innovation, and continuous optimization. I'm thinking the blueprint is out there, right? I mean, you gave fabulous examples of companies that are really doing that. They understand in the customer's case. You're saying, this Milky Way company is like with this girl who's sitting in the cab. They sorted everything out, right? And this company that is doing food, and the technology around that. So the blueprint is there. It's basically the best practices are there. And you mentioned these great companies, right? And all through the day, we've seen, it's out there. It's not like I have to go back to my room tonight and go like, gosh, what should I do?
Not only is it out there, I mentioned Jeff Bezos' shareholders letter. Every single year since 1997, he's been telling people, here's what we're going to do, and here's how to do it.
Right.
And most people are like, yeah, let's watch you do that.
So what is it? Is it because we talked about a lot today about also the mental perspective. And Cate, do you think that companies go and say, oh, you should do that? I mean, you started a transformative journeys training, right? So Cate, do you think like people say, oh, yeah, I should really do that. I definitely should do that. I do it tomorrow.
Yes, partly.
Yeah. Well, it's like has anybody here ever tried to lose weight? Okay. And you go say, okay, I really know I should eat a salad. And then you go home and you eat a big fat burger with all the trim, right? I mean, and we do that all the time. And it is, change and breaking our patterns is a difficult thing. There's no question. We as humans, our bodies are trained for homeostasis. We like keeping kind of that balance. This is disruptive, really disruptive.
Yeah. And what do you see, Cate, and what's the trick? What can companies do? I mean, it's again, I think the app that you, or not app, but the company that doing I think they were called Ometria, right, with the DNA Fit.
The food company.
Yeah, the food company.
Vitamojo.
Yeah, Vitamojo, sorry. That basically lets me scan what I need, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, is that, for, it's making people start making out their minds. That's for start maybe being more healthier. But what do you think, if it's so, I mean, I'm trying to grasp now here, what does all of we do tomorrow morning when we come back?
It's $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, it does come, I thought it was really interesting watching that huddle video because I think it is about alignment and everyone's expectations. And I would say one of the biggest barriers for a traditional business versus Amazon is the traditional business, well, as we talked about this morning, has the traditional way of doing things, but the shareholders also have a series of expectations which Amazon's shareholders don't have at this point. And the whole tax thing with Amazon, it's also quite interesting. They do have a slightly easier time than smaller businesses, essentially, that does make their life a bit easier. But yeah, it's almost like as a collective, everyone involved in the Amazon way of doing things, they've all, essentially signed up to Jeff Bezos' vision of doing things differently. But the shareholders, I don't know, do you know when the shareholders are thinking they might make some money back or might turn a profit?
The funny thing is, I mentioned earlier, right? It took him so many meetings to raise money, and for a long time, Amazon stock was really devalued, right? I mean, they really didn't get the benefit of a lot of shareholders because they didn't believe in a long-term vision. But now, we're 2 decades into this, and we're seeing the growth and the amount of spend. 40% of all e-commerce dollars going through them, and the shareholders like, I can see this. Will they see dividends anytime soon? I don't know. Does anybody want to see them stop and stop the momentum? I don't think the customer journey is done today. I don't, like you mentioned, just in the next couple of years, we're going to be buying more with voice. This is what Staples is trying to do. They realize that. I don't think Amazon will stop until, there's an Echo device, in your refrigerator, in your car, there's a long term until this journey is kind of set in place. The cement is in place because we're still on that quicksand. And I think and I think he's communicating as well, until they reach that point, they can't take the gas off the pedal. They've got to keep pushing on this for that long-term perspective.
Right. So basically, never settle in what you did yesterday, because tomorrow is a whole complete new day. So we just need to keep on.
Be better today than you were yesterday. I mean, I wear it on my wrist. Yeah.
Just an interesting one, and I thought about this. We're going into a world where we have increased speed and change at the moment. I mean, it's going. I can't remember which speaker said that was. It's basically a very aggressive curve there right now. And another thing is that the survival rate of there's an index in the United States called the Dow 100, and on that list, the companies that were around 100 years ago, of those 100 companies, there's just 11 survivors, kind of. And there's a guy called Scott Galloway. He's a former IT entrepreneur and new author, and he's a lecturer at the New York University. And he just made an interview in MarketWatch where he said that his bet is that, amazingly or not, if you can believe it or not, that Google, probably Facebook and Amazon's and all the alike will not be around in 50 years. And that's, I mean, I think it's a pretty bold statement to make. Could he be right? Or what's your take on that? As both of you, basically, companies that we think are established today, and I cannot fathom that Google would go out of business, or Amazon or Facebook. But could it be that in 50 years' time, we're talking about the young kids of today, the newcomers, the startups that are coming in and eating, or following the recipe of basically being customer-centric, working with trust, doing all of that? What's your take on that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing with Google is they've set up their whole campus ecosystem. So do you know about this? So they have in various countries these campus co-working spaces where tiny startups can go and work and get access to Google mentors. And in a way, it's a really clever way of Google keeping tabs on the innovation that's happening. And anyone who catches their eye, they can either buy their startup, or you can say, that idea isn't very good, but you are very talented, let's hire you. And yeah, they're at the moment creating systems that mean that they hopefully won't be, well, for them, be blindsided by some brand new innovation. And they are all moving forward so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, Facebook also. I mean, they're acquiring company after company. Or if they don't acquire it, they'll copy it. Like, because we've seen what they've done with Instagram and Snapchat. Will some of those be around in 50 years? I doubt it, actually. We're already starting to see, the value of search traffic diminishing, and once more searches go more to voice, search traffic goes less. As we go more and more to mobile searches, the amount of ad revenue is going down. So they're struggling, and that's why they created Alphabet, and they're trying to come up with other solutions. The difference is that Amazon has always focused in on figuring out how to take people's money, right?
It's a good focus.
Apple has been great at that. And I think their innovation is a different kind of innovation than they were when Steve Jobs was there. They have more money than God, and we know that companies with that kind of bankroll can weather a whole bunch of things and for a lot of time. And they may one day become as innovative, but their job was to basically be a mass market brand instead of be the niche luxury brand that they originally started as. Facebook. I don't know, they're definitely creating an ecosystem for the social connection, but can they make money with just the ad targeting 10 years from now? I don't know, right? We don't know what the first of all, what the regulations are going to be. That's kind of scary. Are we going to look like a Minority Report, right? Or are there going to be more restrictions, and they're not going to be able to use all that personal data? We also know that a lot of the younger kids are not on Facebook at all, right? They're all on Snapchat and Instagram stories, and again, that targeting is a little bit different. And will they be able to? That one's a big question, right? Yeah. Amazon, they keep finding more and more ways to inject themselves into really the ecosystem of their customers' lives, right? Not in a business category. And I think that is one of the fundamental differences between those other three Goliaths.
Cool. Any other comments or?
Oh, I don't know. I was just thinking about how Netflix just keep spending lots of money without fully having this proven business model in a way. So
well, Amazon is giving away the same service as part of their Prime member. They take all that investment and just produce more content for people.
Yeah, so there seem to be a lot of people just thinking if they spend more money, then hopefully they can survive everyone else, and it's not necessarily a guaranteed thought through thing. So yes, there are reasons for and against, I guess. But I think, was it last year, it was actually Jet.com went from launch to $1 billion valuation in 9 months or something.
That's because Walmart acquired, Mark Gore.
But that time to go to those massive valuations is decreasing all the time. So that's, as you say, the lifespan of a business is going down. The time to get these incredible valuations is shortening.
But if you also look, if you look at companies that are 100+ years old that are successful, and one of my favorite B2B examples is General Electric, right? They started out as light bulbs and all that, and today they're one of the most innovative. They also, by the way, this 4 pillars in that quiz that we give is based on something that GE Healthcare has used and a bunch of others have used. Because this is the signs of a learning organization, an adaptive organization. Yeah. And I think that's the question. When you look at those companies, I don't want to talk about Google because they were a client, so I have some inside stuff and I have some questions about where they're going to be. But you look at Facebook and the average age of their employee. We were kind of talking about this at one of the breaks earlier. Facebook's employees are really, really young, and I just don't know whether they're gonna have the foresight to re-envision what they look like. Yes, they keep hiring, they keep doing, but what happens when there are no phones anymore? There's no personal computers anymore, and it's just, I don't know.
Won't we have our smartphones forever, you mean? Will it go?
I doubt it, and it's funny because Amazon just released that they're going to come out with their own glasses, and so my bet on what their glasses are going to be is, yes, they'll be augmented reality. I'm not very big in AR, VR. I think there's definitely uses for it. But what I think they'll do in their glasses is they'll do that near-field microphone that they use for Alexa inside the house so that you can actually talk to your glasses, but really quietly so you don't look like an insane person, like when you're talking to Siri. And the reason there's more... Well, no, there's a reason. The reason Amazon decided to go after the voice speakers in-house was because it knew inherently all the noise that goes on, and that's why Siri on Go is really a challenge. I think now they've gotten to the point and have enough data that they can probably attach it to a glasses device, and at some point it's just going to be a chip, that you wear in your ear or in your eye and whatever, and you'll be gone. And we won't have those same screens.
Or it will be attached directly to our
brains.
A
little neural net will be part of the Borg.
And it's not so far-fetched. I mean, isn't it?
No, there's already internet-controlled contacts.
Right.
It exists.
So contact lenses, internet connected.
There are 3D holograms that you can touch today.
And I haven't even started with my e-commerce shop yet. So, right. I think we have to start rounding off there because we're going in a tangent. But the conclusion is, and I'm going to use actually the pencils. The pencils here, they're pretty colorful. And my conclusion from today is more and more that companies need to be colorful. They need to embrace diversity. They need to, do a lot of experiments, get out of the way. We had a speaker here in the morning who was saying, well, if I can't do this here, then I will leave, And he didn't ask for permission. He just basically started doing things.
And more and more, the reason being in pencil, not in pen, is because you need to be able to erase it and change it and refine it at a moment's notice.
Yeah. So thanks very much for the discussion. Very, very fruitful. And I'm going to try to, the best of I can, wrap up the day. It's not going to be an easy one. But I've tried to start kind of making a red thread. And we started the day off with this communication, trust, and relationships. And I think that's kind of a core 3 things that I would encompass here. And being customer-centric connects to those things, I would say. And also, Cate started to talk about, companies using back-end AI. And then we were followed up with Eimer, who was talking about, again, the experience economy, trying to go forward, not knowledge economy, not information economy. And then also that connected to AI, but the importance was, again, focusing on a customer experience. And then we had Frederick talking about the shirts, and again, about the quality, the experience, and I was really touched when I saw his video about how these shirts are being made and the emotion and feeling of that. And then we had Margareta who's talked about the importance of customer journeys, starting long before we actually make the purchase, and the curiosity and loyalty around that. And then we talked about Marianne, who brought us this insights about the new brain way of thinking. Basically, need to start chunking up and down to realize that we're maybe not in the business we are in. And basically, and this is what Eimer just touched back to as well, and you can see those interlink when Eimer said, it's in mind, it's in your mind. And Marianne was talking about you need to change your mind, going from the logic, fact-based mind to the other mind that is more, colorful maybe, or more spread out. And then we had Nina, and also Cate mentioned, you look outside your own domain, go beyond that, redefine yourself. And Nina was talking about very much, digital and business strategy is not two separate things. In corporate business strategy, digital is part of that. And I think, again, the 4 pillars of success here again all being with relationships and trust and communication. It's not that digital is here and everything is over here. It needs to be combined. And then we had Alexandra and Sophia and Marcus on stage talking about the importance is not just a system. Yes, you need to have clean data, or you need to have data that has one single point of truth. And again, we know that from Armour as well. He said, send up everything to the cloud and you have one point of contact there for all data. But the important part there, and what I took with me from their presentation, was the simplicity again, right? Work with the processes, work with organization, make sure to have your leadership in place, and involve everyone in when you're doing that transformation project. And finally, Bryan is talking about, agility, about, the centricity of always making one day at a time. And I looked at Borg, our Swedish tennis player, the movie that was out, and his success to winning 5 Wimbledon titles was that his coach said, 1 ball at a time. Don't think 5 sets. Every ball needs to count. And I think that was what I'm going to take with me today from all these ideas and innovation is like, do one thing today, do a new thing tomorrow, and keep on that, and the importance of huddling as well. So with that, thank you, Johan, going forward, I think the most important part is, again, we have a lot of information. We heard a lot about strategy today, but execution in my world beats strategy for breakfast. And be a curious mind when we're going out in tomorrow's world. So with that, I would like to say thank you very much to all the speakers, you as participants, and to all our technical crew making a great job today for all of us. Thank you.